Leopards are pretty much running in unopposed here. See, I guess don't have any units left to capture them with. My air support's offline, so I can't call in any cats. And I mean, I guess I could call in those Mi-24s to help, but remember, those are pretty expensive units. And I only have Sabri and Sterility infantry, neither of which would be any use against a tank. So at this point, I guess the Mi-24Ds are the last units available. Let's see so the T-55s were brought up from the rear to try to counter this advance. Also, I think one of our players was going Soviet Union, so he can call in some pretty advanced T-80 BVs. I think he's brought in 4 of them, which is pretty powerful tank force in any day of the year. So as you see, attacks are still being fought. Some of our command vehicles are looking a bit worse for the wear, but they're all still alive. Another intense battle in the forest, and now I'm bringing in my Mi-24s to act as both recon and CV hunters and general gunships. So as you can see here, all our helicopters have been resupplied, which is all very nice. And my command vehicle, the Ivan, will be resecured soon. However, NATO has launched their flanking force at last. I'm not sure what took them so long, but as you can see at this point I panic. Fortunately, these helicopters that were resupplying are equipped with the Igla, so they can do a huge amount of damage to them immediately. I also have a few sapper units just happen to be there. But yeah, overall I got pretty lucky here because these Sokol helicopters are essentially the best unit for the job. So at this stage I realised I don't have any jets left, because you see, the Sokols can use their anti-aircraft units to shoot down the helicopters before the infantry can deploy, and when the infantry do deploy, they can use their rocket pods and machine gun to kill them quite quickly and easily. Fortunately, there's a lot of infantry to deal with and only 2 Sokols, so they run out of ammunition pretty quickly. So the Sabri are going to have to fill the role. What else? That's pretty much it. So I think NATO's counterattack, I'm not sure why there's so few units there, but there you go. Also some tracked rapiers or some other anti-aircraft units coming in. Also they bring in a starfighter to knock down my helicopters. That is one of the problems with helicopters, which is jets can take them out incredibly fastly in this game. Helicopters overall are a lot less powerful than they were in European Escalation, just because they're not the top tier death from the air kind of unit anymore. The jets are. But yeah, so overall, here comes my truck. Fortunately, I don't think these helicopters are given that much defense. Also, here's some more AT-ATs. Remember, these are the prototype AA 80km units. I don't know this, of course, so I'm probably going to rush a tank into it to kill it or something stupid. Yeah, overall, so as you see at this point, that because the helicopters don't seem to have any machine guns or miniguns to defend themselves, I can just bring in my transport and just shoot them up a bit. At this point, I'm realizing that you see the long arrows, they're the ones that indicate jets. So I realize, oh dear, I'm gonna have to take this zone if I'm going to want to bring in any jets. And because these are the only powerful units I have left, jets are definitely units that I'm gonna want to bring in. So elsewhere, the AT-ATs are still moving up. These are, remember, these are pretty advanced units, because obviously an AGM AA combo is a pretty powerful combination. But overall, I think their counterattack has gone fairly well, because they've, it hasn't even started yet. Here come the Cougars, which have caught out my Sabri. Also, for some reason, my allies decided to capture Ivan now. So again, this is pretty bad communication between the two of us. So I decide that despite they've got all these AGM units in the area, I'm going to try and move my command vehicle down to here. And now at this point, I'm getting pretty desperate. I can't call in any. I also look at 90 for an AT-AT, so it's a pretty expensive unit. So let's see, another fresh assault. Actually, no, it isn't a fresh assault. It's just a bunch of empty supply trucks. Scores now 1,200 to 10,000. Actually, it's 12,000 to 10,000 by mistake. Nadat's still alive. And it looks like it killed my infantry transport. Supply trucks have been captured, and I tell them to move fast down here as soon as possible. So at this point the AT-AT's making full use of its AGMs, and I've killed off the riflemen before they get here. At this point my ally raid should be popping open his AGM transports to get them to fire, but as you can see there's a huge attack going on here, and also look at that, that's actually the distance in the elevation means that this is going quite badly. Another fresh assault. Now they're using pretty advanced tanks, the KPZ-70 Kriegler. This is a prototype tank, and it'll probably won't fare well against the TADU because of the AGMs, but still. So as you can see, the AGMs have been deployed quite badly, I guess, because the hillside they can only really shoot at point blank range. And I'm actually resorting to bringing in PT-76 recon units as my tanks now. So yeah, the attempt to deploy some Delta Force into the town to break up Michael has failed miserably. And look, as these guys cross the verge, there gets pounced on by the Canadian rifles and other forces. So this isn't looking too good for us, especially with those AT-ATs still in the area. The command vehicle could easily get killed, but my plan was simple. The AT-ATs are doing a lot of fighting, so hopefully they'll run out of missiles. If I can call in my jets and make a few good runs, it could work well. So at this point the town's coming under pretty heavy fire. The few Delta Force survivors have encamped in it, and remember these guys are pretty effective anti-infantry infantry. They're probably the best NATO can field. So at this point I'm bringing in my PT-76s, they're recon units, but I'm using them as tanks because that's all I have left. And basically I'm communicating to my allies that why I'm moving my topaz right into Gregory, just to deploy some jets. As you can see, I'm saving up a bit. I've got up in 95 points, so I can start calling in jets once I get this area secured. So you can see the PT-76 discs are still doing a good amount of damage. I mean, the AT-ATs don't seem to be firing. I'm not sure if they can't spot stuff or they're out of missiles, but whatever reason, they're dead. Elsewhere here, some of my infantry is still alive. I don't have any ATGMs left, but I do have some rockets, and at this point I got a pretty bad frame rate drop from Dylan surrendering. So that's the second person in NATO going. But yeah, so this is a pretty bad frame rate drop. Nothing I can do about it really, but fraps and playing a high-end game like this, you can get frame drops at some points. Regardless, the Topaz has now secured the sector, meaning my full air force, which was just sitting back in their hangars up until now, can now wreak havoc. Canadian rifles are doing quite a good bit of damage in terms of fighting, but now the full force of the Soviet Air Force can be brought in to bear against them. This counterattack on Gregory has stalled completely. So with that, there's still actually 3 of us fighting. I know at the start I said it was a 2v4, but I think Cameron 101, I don't know, maybe he went away to get a couple of biscuits or something, but he's back. Now as you can see, another Dornier attack. This is again panicking me because the last time I saw these they caused quite a bit of havoc, so I bring in all of my jets that were dedicated to taking out the counterattack. I'm now repurposing them to shoot down these Dorniers. Again, this, I'm thinking, what's their target? They could fly around our AA defenses around Michael, and maybe this is a CV hunting force. NATO's realised, we're about 3,000 points ahead of them at this point, and we've secured our air force. They can't. Every attack they've tried to do to retake Michael has failed. So maybe they're just going for CV hunting at this point, going for a cube win. So as you can see, my air force is I'm just throwing every single thing I have against them. Just doing multiple strafing runs, throwing in every plane I have at these helicopters to bring them down. However, they might strike lucky first. I mean, here's the first of the BMP-1Ks. There's not really much in its way that doesn't have any anti-aircraft defenses, and my frame rate's so bad I can barely do anything at this point. Just remember that this isn't a replay of the match, this is live footage captured from the game, so this is exactly what I was seeing when I was fighting it. Obviously I'm not doing live comms because I've tried to do live comms before in online matches and it doesn't end well. Try and zoom it out to see if that helps, gives you a good perspective of the battle, I guess. So basically these guys, I'm just using them as CV hunters, just as these guys have been done. Their infantry being dropped and knocked out Ivan. Annoying, but there you go. So now my air force is in a bit of a pickle because they don't have any units left to spot all these helicopters flying around. So I bring in a recon helicopter, which should help out. Elsewhere, my allies bring some Cervican T-55Ls to the battle. I'm not really sure why Gregory. I guess maybe up here and around Michael and their Leonid, they've just decided that everyone's throwing everything at each other and there's not that much forces left. However, there are some T-80 BVs. Being a bit reckless, I have to say. Elsewhere, capturing more supply trucks because I can. All my planes are now resupplying or flying around in circles. Here's another thing. Basically, if you want planes to do one thing, okay, once they've done it, order them to evac, because even after they've done their objective, they'll keep flying around until they're either shot down or they run out of fuel. So, the quicker you can evac them, the quicker they can get back to base. You can call them in again, knowing what they're doing. My infantry have run into some transport here. I guess maybe my plan was that this, they've got transport sitting in a random forest. This must be where the command vehicle in Dimitri is. So I, bring in what jets I have and order some strafing runs. Elsewhere, more battles going on. Now that the points have built up, I guess the Soviet player, I'm not sure who it was, but he's calling in all his high-end tanks, which is much appreciated. I bring in some recon infantry to help out. Also, high-end Mi-24 won't go amiss. So here come my jets going on strafing runs. Again, once you've, if you're only calling them on strafing run, you should evac them immediately, because you see these guys are just flying around. Any anti-aircraft defense can do a huge amount of damage. As you can see, I think one of the MiGs is down already. The other's evacing, but again. So here we go, here the Canadian rifle. So now that they've killed the Ivan CV, I'm guessing they're going for this one here. So I'm trying to redeploy my Sapri to intercept. They've also engaged these Sapris quite well. I have a few jets left over, but there's not much there to stop them. We're now approaching the 1 hour mark, which is just great, isn't it? So yeah, the MiGs are moving in for the kill. At this point, again, my allies are actually starting to catch up with me, because remember, I'm not doing that much at this point because all my good units are dead. So I'm more of a support player at this point. So their points are now catching up with me. There's 4,000 and 5,500 for Saiyans and Cameroons. Let's see what else is going on. More command vehicles are being brought in. That's good. It's all about the command vehicles and total destruction. Unfortunately, Michael's been taking quite a bit of a battering. They've still got a pretty powerful swarm of units. At this point, I'm at a loss to how they can still be calling in units like this. But remember, there's only 2 of them left at this moment. Let's see, some helicopter miniguns have surrounded and knocked down my Mi-24. It was probably a mistake sending it in there, knowing that this is essentially a suicide mission from the start. But there you go. But yeah, so I think I might wrap this up here, just because the match is pretty much finished. I'll spoil it now. We win by CV destruction. We hunt down their CVs and finish them off. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna wrap it up here because I've said what I wanted to say. Poland, quite a good little nation, good to have alongside the USSR because they balance out each other's strengths and weaknesses. But overall, I wouldn't really use them because I prefer high-end, high-tech and high-quality units. But Poland is a good nation to have alongside, and I think I will be keeping a few of their units in my deck when the full version of Airland Battle comes out in a few months. But until then, this has been Agent. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.